Holy Toledo, that's Mitch Campbell.
You're very good in the one about the tramp in the brothel who gets amnesia and becomes a pediatrician. You were very authentic.
Actually, maybe my favorite character ever.
I don't know why nobody else liked it.
Oh.
The clip there from Wes Anderson's latest film, Asteroid City. The movie had its world premiere on Tuesday at the glamorous Cannes Film Festival in southern France. Asteroid City, which received a 6-minute standing ovation at the Cannes, is one of 21 international films competing for the prestigious awards, including 6 films directed by women, a record and a first in the festival's 76-year history. Well, the Cannes Festival, a 12-day extravaganza on the French Riviera, is known for the glitz and glamour, but it is also the biggest industry event for buying and selling movie rights. Off the red carpet, more than 12,000 industry professionals are working on deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Nearly 400,000 films and projects are on display and up for grabs, but all this is challenged by the ongoing strikes in Hollywood. Close to 1,200 members of the Writers Guild of America went on strike in early May, and that's led to some shows being canceled and production dates being pushed back for other productions. And for a closer look at the film industry, I'm joined by Jamaal Finkley, and Jamaal is the CEO and executive producer at Black Tree TV. Good to see you and welcome to the show. So I had the chance to be at this film festival a few years ago, and I can tell you that it is a very strange event in that you have all these high-profile people who are celebrities, then you have some regular people, and then you have some industry people who are trying to make a name for themselves, all kind of mingling amongst themselves. But it is an interesting event to be at. By the way, it's extremely expensive to be there. I have to think, though, this year, certainly the talk, at least on the American side, has got to be when the strike comes to an end, or at least the impact of what the strikes might have.
Yes, for sure. I mean, it's definitely playing off of each other. I mean, first, everybody's glad to see Cannes being back in full stride and feeling a lot more regular than it has the last couple of years. It's a lot more glitz and glamour in the air than people worrying about getting sick and everything. So I think everybody's excited to see that, and they're definitely excited to see the movies like Asteroid City, starring Scarlett Johansson, who got like a full 6-minute standing ovation after the screening, and Monster from Japan and Tiger Strike from Malaysia. You spoke about all these films from around the world, and it's definitely a celebration of that. I mean, you got Killers of the Flower Moon, and of course, The Breaking Ice from China. That's highlighting the festival. But the writer's strike is the backdrop of that, and it's a time where you feel for the writers, and you kind of feel for the studios a little bit, because the whole world has changed in the last 15 years since the last collective bargaining agreement, especially with streaming and now with AI. There's a lot for the writers to be concerned with, and we have to pay attention.
There was talk even a decade ago that as a lot of production moved away from Hollywood into places like Malaysia and Thailand and China and everywhere else around the world, that there would be jobs in jeopardy. In other words, filmmakers were moving their productions to basically a lower cost production area. Some even said Canada, for example, was competing for jobs with the US when some of the production went up to Vancouver, BC, and Toronto. So how much of that has changed fast forward to where we are today? Is it the same concerns, again, of offshoring production or competing with new technology that's coming into place? What's the real issue?
Well, some of the very new technology, when we talk about ChatGPT and the use of production companies for writing scripts and stuff using artificial intelligence, and some of it is a little bit older technology. When the last Writers Guild strike happened 15 years ago, Netflix was still sending out CDs, and now streaming has become a way of life, especially after the pandemic. And we have, it's like they're playing off of each other. There's so many new jobs for writers because there's so much more streaming platforms and more avenues for content, for stuff to write on. But then the metrics, the mathematics, the payout for writers has changed because they're used to appearance and residuals from reruns. And
well, I was going to say the old formula, which, as you said, residuals, reruns. That was the old formula, that I write a script and I get to make money for the rest of my life. But in light of where we are today with streaming media and the amount of competition they are, I mean, is it fair to say that this model might be outdated?
It's definitely outdated, but I mean, there's an argument for the writers for sure, and there's an argument for the studios. You know, the outdated model also let in a lot fewer writers, and today the amount of writers, you know, whether you're talking about the diversity of writers or just the full scope of all the projects that are being made per capita per year now, as opposed to 15 years ago, has changed. Where there used to be a lot fewer writers in the mix, there's a lot more writers, and for the studios, paying them the same rate wouldn't actually be profitable to the studios, and also for the writers, getting paid in the same model where they're used to making money, you know, from the residuals and seeing reruns come on, you know, a certain number of times a year, saying they got a check. That's changed with streaming. That model is way out the window. And so there's so much to discuss with that.
Jamaal, obviously the production from start to finish is now very different through the use of technology. Things can be edited faster, things can be written faster, and so on. But I wanted to ask you, as things become what seemingly is more international, right, through all the different streaming sites, how does the strike end exactly? Because I think if you talk to people in Los Angeles and Hollywood, everyone's in agreement that this does need to end, and people do want to get back to work, right? I understand the complaint, but everybody wants to get back to work.
Yeah, well, I've talked to a rep from the WGA today, and they said that they're willing to go to the mattresses with this strike. The last strike was 100 days. 15 years ago, 1988, it was 153 days. This one may go longer because I feel like the issues in this one are a lot more pronounced, and I feel like they have to get to the negotiating table. I think right now negotiations aren't happening as quickly, but soon as the audiences start to feel the effects of scripted shows not being released and live shows like the Saturday Night Lives and the daily nightly shows, nightly entertainment shows, not having a writer, you know, not being able to produce new episodes. As that begins to be more pronounced, the audience is going to feel it, and the studios are going to have to make a deal. But I think this one's going to go even longer than the last one. So we're in the third week of it. Expect for this one to at least go 180 days, in my opinion.
Oh boy, that's not a good sign. Jamaal Finkley, really appreciate you, and we will check in again when there's some progress on this discussion.
Thank you very much, Phil.